After leaving Prince Edward and Cape Breton Islands, we were once more out on the boisterous North Atlantic, on our way to Halifax. Second only to Sydney, Australia, Halifax has the world's largest natural harbour. Its deep water remains ice-free in the winter despite its northerly latitude. We tied up at Queen's Wharf Marina in the heart of the city. Following the Titanic disaster in 1912, ships left here to search for and retrieve bodies. On a grey, rainy day, I visited the Fairview Lawn Cemetery, where 121 of the victims are buried. After 3 days, we headed back out to sea. There had been no improvement in the weather, and we battled strong winds and head seas on our way to Lunenburg. After threading our way through bleak offshore islands, it came as something of a shock to round Battery Point and be suddenly confronted with the colourful waterfront of this historic town. Among the interesting vessels lining the waterfront was a 188-foot barkentine, Concordia, due to leave in a few days for Europe as part of the Canadian Class Afloat program. We moored over the weekend alongside a remote dock we had to access through a hole in the fence. The wind direction was clearly displayed by a couple of interesting wind vanes. In common with every town we visited, there was a moving memorial with a chilling number of names to those who went to sea and failed to return, a testament, if any were needed, to the dangers of this treacherous coast. Our last stop in Nova Scotia was Shelburne, another historic town further to the south. Accompanied by a weak sun, the weather was now from aft, and Venture was in her element and ran before it as if on rails, surfing through tumultuous seas and providing us with an exhilarating ride through the magnificent seascape. The utter calm of the harbour was in such contrast to the conditions outside, it was hard to believe that only a couple of miles separated the two. We had completed our 12,000-mile journey from Alaska to Nova Scotia, and it remained only for us to continue down the coast of New England to New York to close the Down East Circle. Along the way, Venture had pushed aside ice floes in Alaska and crossed the equator. She had taken us 650 miles offshore to the Galapagos and squeezed through narrow freshwater canals in New York and Florida. She had sailed the Pacific and the Atlantic Oceans and passed through both the Panama Canal and the St Lawrence Seaway. She had taken all those conditions in her stride and come through with flying colors.